the moment I burned out on podcasting. I'm going to talk a little bit about that today, but I'm also going to talk about the power of podcasting and how actually easy it is. And one of the reasons I burned out on it was that I made it a lot more difficult than it needed to be. So in my little sphere of influence that I'm in the 2 Comma Club X, that's Russell Brunson's entry-level coaching program. I've been in it for a couple of years by now as I record this. But when I started in the 2CCX, one of the things that Russell Brunson said, and he says this a lot, this is something that he still preaches and talks about a lot. Start publishing daily, and it will change your life. He even goes so far as to say, start publishing daily for a year, and you'll never have to work again. And I heard that message, so I started podcasting every day. This was 2 years ago. When was it? Back September-ish, 2020. Yeah, September-ish, 2020. I started podcasting every day, and awesome. It's very funny. If you go back and listen to the first 400-ish episodes of this podcast, it was called Bitch Slap. Bitch Slap, the Accelerated Path to Peace podcast. And it was all about the moments where, you know, the universe cracks you on the side of the head and you hit a bottom, and then how do you rebound from that that universal bitch slap? I apologize for swearing. And boy, I had a lot of fun with it, and I gained a lot of notoriety. And also, podcasting gives you tremendous credibility, especially as you build up. It can be a tiny audience, but as you build up your portfolio of podcast episodes. So oftentimes people will just look and go, oh, you've got a podcast. Oh, Mischa's got a podcast. Oh, Mischa's got 400 episodes out there. Wow, that's amazing. You must be good at blank, or you must know what you're talking about, or what have you. It just gives you tremendous credibility. So I'm podcasting away. I was doing an interview every week and having a ton of fun with it. And somewhere along the way, I changed it to the Table Rush Talk Show because I realized as I started to find my voice that I wanted to talk more about the entrepreneurial journey as I've started a new business and online business, and talk about online marketing and sort of that stuff, and bring in the spiritual bent that I like to talk about, because I'm all into prayer, meditation, spiritual stuff, hence what was the Bitch Slap podcast. But hey, let's talk about the entrepreneurial journey, about getting that table rush. I'm having to hit pause a lot. I have leftover respiratory, excuse me, coughing from my little bout with the COVID. But so I was diligently podcasting away and having fun, and obviously I'm back at it, podcasting consistently again. One of the things that I'd heard from Russell Brunson and Steve Larson, if you're in ClickFunnels land at all, you know those two names, or the online marketing direct response online marketing space. You're familiar, well, you should be, or you will be familiar with Russell Brunson and or Steve Larson, but they both preach as well. You know, publish every day, and then, you know, you'll find your voice at episode 50 or 100, you know, somewhere in there. Well, in my experience, yeah, it took me to about episode 400-ish I think it was I did a podcast episode. I can't remember which one it was, but well, I finally found my voice. 400 and something episodes in. But anyway, my point is that what is my point? It's actually easy to podcast. Tip number one to make it easy to podcast is find the times that you can podcast. So for me, I walk a lot. I walk a good hour and a half, 4 times a week, and so it's easy to record the podcast episode then. Find that time for you. Is it driving to work? Russell Brunson had his driving in his car podcast, marketing in your car podcast for a number of years. So he would record an episode as he was driving to work. I don't know. Maybe it's when you're doing the dishes. You can hit record with your earbuds in, and you could literally record your podcast episodes while you're doing the dishes. Or perhaps it's, I don't know, what's the thing that you do often where you could record and get after it. So I did, and I am again. I also know record when the inspiration strikes. So I have a little microphone. It's called the Shure MV88, and I have that with me often. And so I can just throw that microphone on my phone when inspiration strikes, like now, I can record away. I've got plenty of other tips and tricks for being consistent and what you can do and this and that, but I'll save them for another day. So here's where it got complex for me. Now my system's easy. It got complex when I started having to have it be video recorded, and when I was like, okay, now what I'm going to do is do a Facebook Live. I'm going to do it Facebook Live, and then I'll strip out the audio from the Facebook Live. I'll download my Facebook Live video, and I'll turn it into a YouTube episode, and I'll also turn it into a podcast episode. And so doing that, boy, it just started adding all these extra layers of work. Now, perhaps I could have hired a VA or still hire a VA to do that, to do all the minutia around that. But also, so, hey, I'm going to turn it into a YouTube episode. And if you want to grow your YouTube channel, your thumbnail needs to be good for your episode. That helps. Doesn't need to be good, I suppose, but it helps. So all of a sudden, I added in all these extra layers, all this extra work, just creating a thumbnail, going on Canva, doing all this, trying to get creative with the title for the thumbnail. And today, I can record this episode. This one might go a little bit long, but I can do my daily riff episodes for 8 to 10 to 12 minutes, and you've got your pre-recorded intro, outro. Slap those on in GarageBand, and publish my episode. Keep the show notes super simple. Don't need to do transcripts and all that. You can do all that stuff, but literally I could publish a podcast episode every day in a half an hour or less. And if I had a VA, well, really all I'd need to do was record it and send the file over to my VA, and I could publish a podcast episode every day, and however long it took me to record the episode, 8 to 15 minutes, and then the 2 minutes it took to download the file and email it to my VA. So I'm still doing it myself. I love it. It's super easy. I can literally get it done in 20 minutes, including the recording. It's super fast. And as a matter of fact, as I've been publishing consistently again, starting now, starting a week ago or whatever it was. I'm like, oh my gosh, it's so easy to publish an episode. It is so easy to publish an episode, and I had made it so difficult by adding in all this extra layers, by trying to publish to all these extra places, trying to repurpose the content. And I burned out. And so, gosh, when was that? I don't know. That was maybe 6 months ago. Maybe it was May. Yeah, 5-6 months ago. And my publishing schedule deteriorated dramatically. Fortunately, I had a bunch of interviews that I hadn't published yet. So anyway, to make the long story not quite as long, I got re-inspired a week or so ago and was like, you know what, keep it simple. You don't need to be all things to all people. You don't need to publish across platforms. And as a matter of fact, you don't need to find a VA to start publishing again. Just keep it as simple as you can. And so I would encourage anybody out there, it's a great lesson, just keep it as simple as you can and pick a platform, publish to that platform. You don't need to worry about, unless you got a team or VAs or whatever, multi-platform publishing, repurposing, all that stuff can come. So there's that, and I'll end with this. The credibility that I have from publishing consistently to my podcast is massive, and it came very quick. And as a matter of fact, I was and am very well known in my circle by lots and lots of people. They know about my podcast, and it gives me tremendous credibility, and they may not have even listened to it. I literally went to Funnel Hacking Live. This was in 2021, and the amount of attention that I got from hundreds and hundreds of people who were like, hey, you're the podcast guy. You're the podcast guy. And they might not even have known what the name of my podcast was and or listened to it, but they knew I was doing it, and that created engagement. So there you go. Get after it. Start publishing. Pick a platform. Start publishing daily if you can, or pick your schedule. I'm going 5 days a week, and keep it as simple as possible, and it's easy to do.
Thank you for listening to this episode of the Table Rush Talk Show. For resources to help you sell your stuff, go to belove.media/resources. That's belove.media/resources. And be sure to subscribe, comment, 5-star, and share. Thank you again for listening.